Turned off dual screens. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So as I was saying, no zoning case has been filed. Nancy Estrada would be the assigned case manager when it is. The agenda tonight, I'll go over basic case information, guidelines for group discussion, how to participate in this process, why is there a plan amendment application, what is a future land use map, also called a FLUM. After my presentation, Sergio, the applicant, will do his presentation. Then we will go into the Q&A session of the meeting. So basic case information, the property address is 4302 Nuckols Crossing, 6.72 acres. Case numbers NPA 2023-0014.01. Project name is 4302 Nuckols Crossing. The FLUM request is to go from single family to multifamily residential land use. As I mentioned, no zoning case has been filed at this time. But on the plan amendment application, it is noted that the proposed zoning would be to change the zoning from SF2 CONP, which is single family residence standard lot district, conditional overlay combining district neighborhood plan, to MF3 NP, multifamily residence medium density district, neighborhood plan, and it's not a planned development area, for multifamily residential. The property owner is Catherine Barnage, and the agent is Sergio Lozano Sanchez from LOC Consultants Civil Division. Guidelines for group discussion. Please feel free to type your questions into the chat at any time during the meeting. And after staff and applicant presentations, if you would like to speak, you can raise your hand by clicking on the hand symbol. Telephone participants will be able to speak during the Q&A session of the meeting. Attendees will be muted upon arrival and through the staff and applicant presentations. Then staff will open the floor to answer questions in the chat or by attendees raising their hands to speak. Similar questions may be grouped and answered together, and we ask that you be respectful to each other during the discussion. As mentioned, the meeting is being recorded and will be posted to the publicinput.com/neighborhood plan amendment cases website. You can email or call me at any time with any questions that you have. If you provide written comments, it will be included in the staff case report when the cases go to Planning Commission and City Council. If you live within 500 feet of the property, you will get a notice in the mail of the Planning Commission and City Council public hearings with the date, time, and location and instructions for how to participate in the public hearings in person and virtually. So why is there a neighborhood plan amendment case? So neighborhood plans are adopted by City Council as amendments to the Imagine Austin Comprehensive Plan. And here's the link to the plan document. So comprehensive plan sets forth a vision and goals for a city's future and provides the overall foundation for all land use regulations in the city. The city charter requires zoning changes to be consistent with the comprehensive plan, and most neighborhood plan amendment cases are changes to a future land use map. And most neighborhood plan amendments have an associated zoning application. This map shows the areas in blue that have City Council approved neighborhood plans with future land use maps. The planning areas have a document that has the vision and goals of the planning area, and also a future land use map where the colors on the map represent broad land uses. For example, on this map, the area that you see in purple is industry, red, commercial, and on this property is single family, which is shown in yellow. And with the proposed land use of multifamily, it would be represented in orange. And here's a zoomed in of the future land use map of the property, where you can see it is single family shown in yellow. See, to the north, you have the purple, which is industry. To the south, multifamily. And also to the east, you see the multifamily. This is an aerial photo with the future land use map overlaid. You can see the properties undeveloped. Zoning map shows the property is zoned SF2 CONP. To the north, zoned LI CONP, which is Limited Industrial Services District, conditional overlay. To the east, SF2. To the south, MF4 is multifamily. To the west, you also have the SF2 zoning. And here's a zoomed in map of the zoning. This map shows the floodplain on the property on the northern tract. Google Map shows some of the surrounding uses. This is the Imagine Austin growth concept map, where these colors represent regional centers, town centers, neighborhood centers, job centers, and activity corridors. So this zooms in on that growth concept map, and it shows the properties just south of the McKinney Job Center, shown in purple, and the Dove Spring Neighborhood Center to the west, shown in yellow. This map shows the property in proximity to public transportation. You see some bus routes along Stastny Lane to the east, and to the west along Franklin Lane. That ends my presentation. I'll stop sharing. And Sergio, if you want to start your presentation.
Absolutely, Maureen. Thank you so much for your introduction. Good evening. My name is Sergio Lozano. I'm a licensed professional engineer in the state of Texas, license number 89158, in good standings. And I just want to give you a brief synopsis of what this project is all about, and some history of how we got to where we are today. Ms. Catherine came to us approximately 6 months ago, asking us to do a feasibility analysis for this particular property in terms of land uses, utilities, environmental concerns, legal lot status, zoning, and so forth. So we completed our analysis, provided to her, and then we moved into the next step, which was to request a zoning change to be able to have a larger density of units on this very sensitive tract of land. And we were able to, out of the 6.72 acres that we have, we were able to show that approximately 70% of the property is within the FEMA 100-year floodplain designated areas, as well as areas that have the City of Austin critical water quality zones. The property has very little left to be developed once that you take into account the actual layout of the 100-year floodplain, as well as the critical water quality zones setbacks. And that left us a very, very small portion of the property to consider developable. So what we are proposing is to do less than 1 acre of the 6.72 acres with a proposed multifamily development. We understand that we can be a transition between the MF4 that we have to the south of us, to the SF2 that we have to the north of us, and ask for a medium density. We prepare a very diagrammatic layout of what we can do that actually shows you the proposed area that has a building that is approximately 9,600 square feet. And we're showing a total impervious cover of the usable land to be less than 35%. Total number of units that we're proposing with this layout, and the number of parking spaces that we will be affected, if you will, should this development move forward with the layouts that we have. We have done a very schematic calculation of the trips that will be generated by this type of facility under my multifamily housing mid-rise concept. And the total number of trips that we will have will be approximately 77 trips per day. And that's assuming 2 residents per unit. And, we use again the transportation directional distribution for the Texas Transportation Institute. That's the graph that we use to come up with our 77 trips per day. We are not generating the 2,000 trips that the transportation assessment will require, as well as any type of TIA, because we are not proposing to develop the entire site due to the environmental constraints, and we like to basically try to keep this property as pristine as possible. And I like to be able to, and by the way, there are utilities available on site or across the site that will be able to provide capacity for our development. I have to read for you very quickly an email from the owner, Catherine Barnage, who is here with us on this presentation. Unless, Maureen, you would like her to have her own time, but basically she's a very conscientious person in regards to the environment. She has been here in Austin since the year 1998, and she really values all the environmental conscientiousness that we have here in Austin. And Catherine hopefully will be able to talk, but basically doesn't want to cover this with 7,000 apartments. She inherited this property and she wants to make sure that the wishes of the late Mark Sebastian Miles are kept, which is develop this property in a sensible way in terms of protecting the environment and protecting and preserve some of the natural characteristics that we have on this area. That's why you have seen not a very aggressive project. This is not something that is going to make Catherine rich. She just wants to be able to develop her property in such a way that is not only conscientious of the environment, but is something that she feels is not going to impact the conditions of the site. With that, I close my presentation, and I'm here to answer any questions that you guys might have.
Well, thank you, Sergio. Did you say the property owner would like to say a few words?
Yes, sir. That's correct, Mark.
Okay, then, Catherine, here's your opportunity.
Thank you so very much, everyone, for the opportunity to speak here tonight. My name is Catherine Barnage, and I am the property owner. And yeah, just like Sergio said, he really covered a lot of what I was writing to him. But it was honestly relieving to me when I spent the time to hire studies, an excellent realtor, and expert engineer to let me know how best to use this land. Because as soon as I inherited this property from my dear friend Mark Sebastian Miles Weindel, I had no idea how I was going to be able to sell this property and protect the environment as well. It's been on the forefront of my mind and of my process in this. And I've spent over a year in research and development of understanding what this land is, in order to find its best use. And the relief to me when I realized that these studies show that the city of Austin has already made it to where the majority of the land that's in the watershed cannot be used and will never be able to be used, will never be able to be built on. That actually brought me the confidence to be able to seek rezoning from the city of Austin and seek the best use of this property. So yeah, I do feel like I have a legacy that I'm preserving in who gave this land to me. He was a huge proponent of the natural world, and it was very important to him, and that was his value of the property itself. I have a strong personal tie to the land, and I feel a strong responsibility in the stewardship that was given to me in it. And I just hope that having the chance to share these few words with you all tonight helps to alleviate the valid concerns that people are bringing to the table about the preservation of this watershed. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Catherine. So I have a question here from Laurel Francel. I guess this is for Sergio. Where will the driveway be located? And what about the extremely poor sight lines from St. Elmo?
Okay, on the layout that we have prepared, again, this is very schematic. We're pushing the driveway as far away as possible from the point of curvature of the existing roadway and Nuckols crossing. And so we are proposing to put it, I will say, the farthest that we can south of the property as the layout that we have. Can you put in the layout on the screen?
I am trying, yes.
Oh, hold on. Will you let us share your screen, please?
It is, it's just from.
Oh,
Like this first. Frozen. Yes.
so, right there, you can see where the proposed driveway is preliminary shown. And again, that's right next to the multifamily site that we have to the south of us. I'm sorry, to the north of us. I don't know if that answers this question or not, Mark.
It's over 400 feet until the.
So Emily, would you unmute and ask your question, please?
Yes, thank you. So my name is Emily Solomon, and I'm a homeowner in the Kensington Park development. And I believe that there was some documentation that was submitted prior to this meeting from Lee Sloan, who is another member here in our neighborhood, outlining and detailing the reasons why this property cannot be developed. If I may be allowed, I'd like to read into the record those three objections. Number one, the Southeast Combined Neighborhood Plan was arrived at after years of intensive, exhaustive, and detailed interaction of city staff, home and landowners in the area, local neighborhood organizations, SCAN, the umbrella neighborhood organization for this area, and other interested parties The conditional overlay restrictions placed on this tract and adjacent tracts along McKinney Branch Creek were not arrived at lightly, but they were appropriate for the sensitive environmental nature of those lands with their creeks, springs, wetlands, and woodlands. The conditional overlay protection put in place were not just some off-the-cuff agreement between a landowner and a city staff person or two. Rather, it involved hundreds of members of neighborhood groups and organizations and affected landowners and significant city staff personnel. This was agreed to by the majority of landowners there, and the then current landowner of the tract in question, which, as I see in the comments, was brought up by Laurel Francis, who said that Sebastian promised that this land would never be developed. The second point of objection is that, according to the city documentation, this tract lies almost entirely in the Austin waterway setback, and moreover, it lies entirely within the City of Austin Master 25-year floodplain. Development in such areas is prohibited. Number three, there are serious issues with the traffic for this stretch, which has already been brought to the attention of the group with the proposed or lack thereof driveway location. And the road studies by the City of Austin conducted back in 2018 for the City Heights project showed that Nuckols Crossing, with its narrow width and tortuous route, that it could safely handle no more than 1,200 trips per day, but as noted, Nuckols was even then handling more than 7,100 trips per day, and the number is only increasing. And finally, the line of sight safety requirements for this property should prohibit any multifamily use for this property. There are some further details outlined in this letter to the group. And finally, as an additional point, I believe that Mr. Sloan also provided to the City Council the objection to any additional low-income housing being built in this area, as we already have 7 such developments in the immediate area. Thank you.
Thank you, Emily. One of the questions, this is for Sergio. How many feet from City Heights driveway is the proposed driveway?
We were trying to measure the distance in Google Earth, and we were not able to, actually measure it, but we are attempting to get that response right now.
Okay, thank you. Does anybody else who's in the meeting today have any other questions or have any other comments to make?
Yes, hi, my name is Ana Padilla. I represent McDowell Housing Partners, the owner of the City Heights. We review the site and we're going to make it part of City Heights development. The site have a lot of environmental issues that were very difficult to resolve. And in our case, we were going to access the site through the access that we have currently at the established. So it was very far away from the curb. We received a lot of opposition from the neighborhood. We widened the road. We work with the Department of Transportation, with the city, and we have to put our entrance to the site very far away from the curb, so we were able to access our site. So we strongly oppose. We support the opposition of other parties. I apologize. I got into the meeting very late. I couldn't get earlier, so I didn't see much of the presentation, but I was able to see a little bit of a drawing in there. So the access will be very difficult. And we're opposing the amendment.
City Heights.
Yes.
Okay. So, well, thank you. Okay, so does anybody else have any questions or want to make any comments? And if you can't think of any now, you can always email Maureen. To Anna also, this is being recorded, and tomorrow morning it will be posted to the Neighborhood Plan Amendment Speak Up Austin page So it'll be available for viewing there. And it'll be the same address that you use to log on to this meeting. The same website, so.
One additional question, please.
Yeah, we have,
That was typed into the chat. There was a question asked by an attendee who is here with me in the same room. Was there any ground topographical analysis done to find a driveway?
So yeah, it's basically it's asking the engineer on this call said that he tried to do this through Google Earth. That's actually so outdated and without any kind of current metrics that could be measurable. So no LiDAR, no on-the-ground topographical studies have been done, or actually any physical
he was
analysis to try to find a driveway. I mean, it is a pretty perilous road with very low visibility. It would not pass visibility standards.
okay. Thank you. Anybody else? And this is from, again, Oral Francel. The Los Arboles is the single-family neighborhood across Nuckols Crossing from the City Heights apartment complex, the main street being Viewpoint Drive. We oppose this future land use map amendment change. Oh, she's the president of the Los Arboles HOA. So does anybody else have any questions? No, hearing none. Maureen, do you want to put up your contact information and
Well, let me just say, real
Go
quick, I
ahead.
thought there was a phone call, person on the phone. They're not there anymore? Okay. Thought there was a phone caller. Okay.
It was probably me that I was trying to get into the meeting.
got it.
I had a very hard time trying to find the link wasn't working for me.
Okay.
well, before you do that, there's a person on the call, Jonathan Bray. Do you have any questions or want to make any comments? Hearing none, I think anybody else who's here on the call wants to make any comments before we start wrapping things up. So Maureen, you want to put up your contact information and then go over the next steps in the process.
Can you see the screen?
Mhm.
Okay. So, the cases have not been scheduled. The zoning case has not been filed yet. So nothing has been scheduled for planning commission at this time. When the zoning case is filed and it's gone through the review process and we start moving towards scheduling for planning commission, I'll reach out to the planning contact team and let them know the date and start working toward a letter of recommendation. People like on the neighborhood association across the street, you can keep in touch with me on any future planning commission dates and I can keep you in the loop. The staff recommendation has not been made at this time. After my team meets and make a recommendation on the Plum amendment, we'll pass a recommendation on to the zoning team after the case is filed. Then we'll make a zoning recommendation and then we will start working toward planning commission, city council. It seems like it will be a while since the zoning case hasn't been filed. But if you want to touch base with me in a couple weeks or so, I can give you any updates.
And thank you, Maureen. Also, there's a Sophia Morales in the meeting. Sophia, do you have any comments or any questions at this time?
Hi, everyone. I'm Sophia. I work for Councilmember Vanessa Fuentes from District 2 that represents this area. I'm just here listening in to make sure that we're familiar with the case. And Emily, if you wouldn't mind sharing the letter that you read from with me, I'd appreciate it. I can drop my email in the chat.
Yes, happy to.
Thank you. So looks like we're going to be wrapping up a little bit early today. The meeting doesn't have to go to the time allotted for it. So before we go, does anybody else have any comments from the community, any comments or questions they want to ask? Okay. Well, Sergio or Catherine, do you have any parting statements you would like to give to the people here before we sign off for the night?
Yes, if I may have the opportunity to give you what my answer is to the three subjects that were brought up by the neighborhood. One is I cannot tell you whether the previous owner of the property, Mr. Sebastian, have made any type of promises or wrote or agreed to anything that I was not privy to it. I have never met him, and I do not want to say that he made these explicit agreements because again, I was not privy to having the opportunity to have met with him. The second thing that I like to say is that the layout of the critical environmental features that the neighborhood put together is misleading because all our documents were obtained from the City of Austin property profile website, and unless the maps that the City of Austin has in the records are incorrect, the area of erosion hazard zone in their letter is not what the City of Austin shows. And number three, we have not done a detailed topographic survey of this site until we actually go and move into the zoning case. So we are keeping this right now on a very schematic design, preliminary design. With that, that's my response to the comments that the staff had, not staff, I'm sorry, the neighborhood had. And again, 74 trips or 88 trips, I'm sorry, is not going to even require a traffic impact analysis for the property. And by putting the driveway as far as possible to the point of conflict of tangency of the road, I think we are eliminating some of the site distance concerns that they were brought during this discussion.
Thank you. So I would like to thank everybody who's came to the meeting tonight and asked your questions. Like I said earlier, if you have additional questions or you want to have comments put into the staff report that will be presented or given to both the Planning Commission and the City Council, you can contact Maureen and Nancy when the zoning case is filed. And with that, I'd like to wish, before we go, has everybody had an opportunity? I just want to make sure that everybody's had a chance to say their piece. Well, if not, I'd like to thank you and I wish everybody a good evening.
For being here tonight.